up?
Take this.
Wait, is this my mic or my mustache? Do you find yourself with lumber, but then no idea how to make that lumber flat and square in order to make additional projects? Do you? You know what's funny about safety? Nothing. All right, so you got your lumber, you're ready to start milling. You're in a wood shop environment, and you don't know how to be safe and how to use the tools. So I am going to help you understand the process. The first step is you're going to break down your lumber. So I'll write that down. Manageable sizes. Manageable sizes. Step one. Well, step one is find lumber. Step two. Step two will be you go to the jointer to make one flat face. Step three. We have one flat face. We are going to have two faces that are flat and parallel. Okay? We're going to go to the planer. Second face becomes parallel. Step four. Back to the joiner. One edge, only one on the joiner. Step five. Second edge, okay, goes on the table saw. Step six, cross cut. Can be done multiple ways, usually done on the table saw because you're already at the table saw. At that point, you have done what is called 4 square milling, and all of your lumber is flat and square, and you are ready to make additional items. Are you paying attention? Okay, at this point, we are ready to use the tools in the shop. And so, step one, before you ever touch a tool, is to look at yourself, look at your outfit. Is it dangly? Are there fringe items hanging down? Or are you staying tight? Is everything tucked in? Is everything rolled up? Is your ponytail in your hair thing? All of that you need to know before you step foot in the shop and use a tool. You do not want to be what I call dangly. Dangly equals dangerous. This is the chop saw, or also known as the miter saw. So what this does is it cuts straight down. The blade is spinning this way, so it will spin this way and cut down. And it is to cut wood into manageable chunks, okay? So we have our lumber, and we would like to cut our piece into a 2-foot section. So I have made my mark. Before you use any tool, you got to have your eyes and your ears. So right now, this is not flat against the fence. So I'm going to flip my board over, and I like that a little bit better. I'm going to turn the tool on. And then lift up after the blade has stopped completely. If you look at this hand is holding the wood, but it's not close, it's not dangerous, it's holding the wood, and if something were to happen, the trajectory of my hand is this way. Now we are at the joiner. The joiner is the tool that makes one flat face and one flat edge. This is a face, this is an edge. The joiner has the blade, it has a spinning cutter head right here. And so this is the one tool where your hands will pass over the spinning blade. What we can do is change the trajectory of our hands so that we are not pushing down. You might see on the YouTubes or the TikToks people doing this kind of thing with their hands. No, do not do that. That is dangerous and could result in injury or harm. Okay? In this shop, we have push sticks. When you are doing a face, you are going to put one. This has a lip on the edge, helps you push this way. This one just has a pad. Okay? And you're going to push this way. And what that's going to do is if something were to happen, I was to faint, I was to get scared by something, someone yelling, nonsense, okay? Scared, hands, safe, okay? Think about this. Scared, hands, cut, mangled, okay? All right, so we have our push sticks. What we're gonna do is push it over the cutter head, right? And then you'll have a flat face. And what I think is wonderful about this process is you can see this lumber is rough, okay? We're gonna make it beautiful. Okay, we have our safe situation with our hands. And then we also think about our body position. We're not doing like this or something weird. We're just gonna stand and we're gonna use good body mechanics to push this through. Okay? All right, I'm gonna turn the dust collection on. That also keeps us safe. I'm gonna turn the tool on. All right, we've got one flat edge right here. We know it, we see it, it's beautiful. We can even put a small mark on here just to keep track. All right, flat face down on the planer. This is the planer. So the planer is similar to the joiner and it has a circular cutter head. But the cutter head is on top. And what that does is that it cuts on the top and makes a parallel flat edge. And so when you want to have a board that's all the same all the way across, you're going to want to use this machine, okay? This machine, the planer machine. All right, so this machine's a little bit old in this particular shop. And so the way we do it here is we turn the machine on and then we bring the bed up to the cutter head and the board will move a little bit. And then the next round you will turn this, which is what moves it, and then that will cut the next time. So on all tools, there's typically a green and a red. And it's harder to press the green, you have to press in, and the red you can just smash to stop. Okay, also connected to the sawdust collection. So we want to turn that on, okay? Safety-wise, very different than the joiner. Everything is contained in this machine. The one danger is you would never want to put your hands in the machine, right? You're thinking, when you're in the shop, you're thinking, and you're thinking, I shouldn't put my hands in that machine. That would be dangerous, right? And so we're not going to do that. But also, if your piece gets stuck, don't try to yank it out, okay? I see people do that, and I do not like it. All right, that happens. You smash that stop button, and then you lower it down. You take your piece out, and you start again. All right, see that? It's moving. Okay, I'm going to turn it half a turn. One, two, faces, okay? Now we're gonna do the edge. And that's where this fence comes into play. So this fence is at 90 degrees. And so we're gonna take this piece and put it up against and push on this fence and send this over. So what I like to do personally is I put my hand here, fingers up, nothing dangling, right? We do not dangle. Dangle is dangerous. All right, so we're putting our hands here, and that's pushing up against that fence. And then this hand is like a push stick, like that, right? And then I'll come around on the other side. When we're doing the edges, we are not using these, all right? Hey, Norm, we are using this if we need it. Like that. And so this brings the trajectory of our hands up, right? And this, our hand is here and then here, and it never passes over that blade. Okay? Yeah, exactly. So I'm just going to do it for you so you know what's happening. Dust collection on. Machine on. So we just got a little bit, so we'll do another round. All right, so now we have one face, two face, one edge. All right, so now we're going to do the fourth edge here. All right, now we are at the mighty table saw. This is a tool that many people misunderstand and overuse. Understood? Are you listening? Highland Woodshop, we have 4 bandsaws, okay? So there are options to break down material, and you don't always have to use the table saw. The table saw is a great tool, but sometimes it's necessary to use a different tool. And so we might ask you to not use the table saw for something, and you might think, that surprises me. And you might be surprised. When you have your 1, 2, 3 edges flat, square, ready for action, you just need one more to complete your board, okay? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this nice jointed edge up against this fence. And that is called a rip cut, okay? When we put the long edge up against the fence, that's called a rip cut. So when we're doing our cut, the amount of blade out is important to think about. And so you don't want like all this blade unnecessarily out. And so you're gonna bring that down to where this is this is called the gullet, okay? Is right on the very top of the wood, okay? Gullet. All right. And then we're just gonna cut off a small amount. And this fence locks this red handle up. The fence can move, red handle down, it's locked into place. This is how you raise and lower the blade, and you want to make sure that's locked. This is another situation where you're thinking about the trajectory of your hands, okay? So you will see people in the TikToks and the Instagrams doing this number with their hands, thinking that they're special and that their hand is a push stick, right? We're not doing that here, okay? We're using these. This is a push stick. We got this one. We got this one. We got this one for thin stuff. Look how thin it is. It's thin. All right. I'm going to use this one. All right, so if you think about that, the trajectory of this hand is here. And it is not going to travel with the board. The board is going to travel by my hand, okay? You might get a splinter. I'd rather you have a splinter than no fingers to get splinters in. Understood? All right, so we're going to pass the board by. This hand is glued down, okay? And then once you get your board here, there's plenty of board on the table. I'm going to grab my push stick. Put my push stick down. I'm not going to do this, okay? I'm going to push through with my body calmly. I'm going to push, then once it's past this hand is done, I'm going to push it all the way past the riving knife. Lift my push stick up, replace it, wait. Okay, we're waiting for the saw to spin down. We're not reaching in there while the saw is spinning. Okay, we're waiting. All right, I'm going to show that one more time. This hand, it's glued down. We're pushing it by. We're grabbing the push stick. For those of us with short arms, that final push, you might need to rotate a little bit. All right, we're going to turn the dust collection on. Safety first. We're going to turn the saw on. So the big thing people are concerned about with safety on a table saw is called kickback, all right? And so what happens is when you're cutting a piece like this, cutting along, and you want it to just cut on the front side of the board, but if it comes off the fence a little bit and touches that back part of the blade, it's going to lift it up and send it back, okay? And so that's why we always want to stand to this side of the blade. So when you're using the saw, you're turned, and this is the danger zone. You're going to just let it go by. We're just going to keep it nice and up against the fence. That's what this hand is doing. And we also use that push stick and just have our energy towards the end of that board staying along the fence, okay? And that's going to reduce kickback. The other thing about kickback is if you are using your hand like this, like a push stick, and your board gets pulled across, your hand is low and near the blade. If you use a push stick, if you get kickback, your hand is above the blade. Something were to happen, the trajectory of your hand is in the safe zone, okay? All right, that's kickback. Got it? We can talk more about it when you arrive. So, we've jointed the first face. We've planed the second face. We've jointed the edge, and then we table sawed the fourth edge. So that's called 4S, or 4 square mill. It's square, it's flat, it's ready for action, okay? Now, we want to cross-cut this into the sizes that we need. Say you're going to make this into a box, 6-inch sides. All right. Why, you might ask, did I not start with 6-inch sides? So, when you are breaking down your lumber for this process, we are talking manageable sizes. but we are not breaking it down to 6 inches until the very end because 1, it's a lot more steps if you do each one. 2, small pieces do not go on that machinery, the joiner and the planer, okay? All right, you got it. Okay, so if you're wanting to cut this way instead of this way, that's called a cross cut. And so if you can think about it, the way you always want the long edge on a fence. And so if you were not to have this, this is called a cross cut sled. Sorry, I was just getting some reps in. Why would I not do this, you might say? That is just a giant lever and kickback waiting to happen, okay? We do not do this, okay? This is a no-no. All right, so what we do, we grab that crosscut sled, excuse me. It fits in these grooves, and then we can cut it like that, okay? The long edge is still on a fence, it's just not this fence, okay? So, and now, because we've added plywood, we need to raise the blade. The gullet, the gullet, the gullet, okay? All right, if you want, you can use a stop block. It says, please keep, don't throw this away. Come in here and throw this away, I'm gonna be mad at you. We got a clamp there. Okay. Going to turn that dust collection on. Okay, saw on. One. So we just quickly cut this into 3 equal sizes. For now, that's it. And we appreciate you learning from us here at Highland Woodshop.